Welcome, welcome. Today I've got a little lesson on fabric pattern combination and then also a few little tips along the way just to make sewing fun and easy. We're talking all month about leisure. I wanted to show you this first picture because it's really what inspired me to do this whole concept of this home tank dress. I love this. You can just imagine as you're looking at it that it's cool, it's comfortable. Look at the price. You know, you can divide that by how much per yard fabric can be, and there's, gosh, I know sewing can save money in this case. But then I saw the second picture and that inspired me. And then I saw the third thing that really caught my eye was this fabric, because this fabric, as you can see behind me, it's a stripe, but it's already done on the bias. It's so cool. It's, you know, I mean, there's no bias to a knit. I got it. I can hear you all saying that to me. But basically, instead of having to take up all that yardage, you just put your fabric pattern on straight. So I thought, okay, I could get this great striped dress and not have to take up all that fabric. So I only used 2 yards to get the whole dress, and I did long sleeves. And I did long sleeves because it's always cold. Restaurants for me, and even in the summertime, so I really like a long sleeve. But even if you decide to do sleeveless, couple it with your jean jacket, and it's just a home run, and it's just so easy. You guys know sewing time is really quick and easy. So let's go to a couple little tips that I want to show you first. All right, so this first one now is just about lengthening. We've had a lot of questions about lengthening in general. So you can see I colored the line so you could see that the center front and center back line you just bring down. Now you have 2 options when you're doing a dress like this. If you're doing a woven, I would use 514, which is the tank. If you're doing a knit, I would use 195, which is the sweater set. Both of those easily lengthened. You know, you can change necklines, you can do all of that, but those are the 2 bases. So depending whether you use a woven or a knit, I would go with either the tank or the sweater set, and both of those, like I said, can be lengthened into a dress. So what I did is I want you to see the different color lines, because the green line represents that French curve. And so if you've gotten your pants, if you've gotten, you know, you can use that as a base and put your pants on the bottom of the sweater set or the tank top. And then you'll know exactly how wide that green line has to be. It has to follow a French curve. So as far as how long you want it, I just took a yardstick and measured from my shoulder to where I wanted it. And then I took the same yardstick and put it on the edge of the shoulder to where the pattern was. I ended up adding 20 inches because I wanted it, I knew I wanted it long. And if you, not right now, but if you look back at that first picture I showed you, one of the things that really appealed to me was that slit up the side. I really liked that. So I made it long enough to where I could have a long slit and still be modest and comfortable and yet cute at the same time. So think about all those things when you're considering how long you want it. I added 20 inches. You can see that I literally just laid it on the pattern. I didn't do any changes to the pattern other than adding length. I didn't want to do a binding on the neckline. A lot of times when you're using stripes, the stripe is straight or it's horizontal, and the neckband is at a bias. Or, you know, again, we just refer to it as bias because of its angle. It's literally not bias. So I didn't want to do that on this because I knew this would already look bias, and so I just left it. I just serged the edge, turned it under, and top stitched. With everything else, a couple changes that I did. The fabric, first off, is 3212, and again I used 2 yards. 3212 is the fabric. I love it. It's 100% cotton. I mean, it's just so soft. It's great. But when you're doing that slit, I wanted to show you, and here's kind of a series of pictures I'm going to put in right now. And the first thing you're going to do is you're making this all by the directions. If you're putting in a sleeve, if you're not putting in a sleeve, then you just serge the side seams and you sew them with a sewing machine. Because what happens when you stop, and you can see this little series of pictures, you backstitch and then you open that up and you top stitch it. That very last picture is showing that you top stitch that. And then of course you do the hem, and the hem in the front and the hem in the back is done completely separately because they're not attached anymore. If you're putting in a sleeve like what I did, then your serging of that side seam, you have to serge the underarm seam, or the sleeve seam and the side seam, because you've already set that sleeve in. So that whole thing has to be serged separately and then stitched separately. It's not a big deal. Just recognize some people, they'll serge the underarm seam and then stop about right here. and then go ahead and open up the seam. I think it lays better when the whole side seam is opened up. It just has a tendency, I think, to look a little bit better. Either way, throw on a little belt, or no belt, either way, it's comfortable, it's great. Throw on your little jean jacket. So we've shown you how to lengthen your pattern. We've shown you how to sew it. We've shown you an idea of fabric and pattern combination, but we have a bunch of new fabrics up, and they're all incredible. There's some woven that are beautiful. Anyway. And then there's some knits. All are going to work for this comfortable little leisure dress that you can wear perfect right now for the holidays. Not holiday. Well, Easter, Passover, those holidays. All right, so the goal is happy sewing with Silhouette Patterns. Bye for now.